Okay, this is the second part of our study guide. We're starting with question number 7, which is the content. Content refers to the specific things that we learned. There are certain general things that you should remember from our study this year. So first of all, how can you tell if an item is an Aveda or not? An Aveda is a lost item. So how can you tell by just looking, is this item lost or not? So a Mishnah that we learned told us, and this is what you should write down. If the item looks like it belongs there, it's not an Aveda. But if the item is in a place where it doesn't belong, it's not in a normal condition, then it's an Aveda. Okay, you don't have to write this down, but just as a reminder, for example, if you find an animal running in a vineyard, or let's say you find a book in a playground, so that would be an Aveda because a book doesn't belong in the floor in a playground. Or if you find a phone in a parking lot, that's an Aveda. But if an item looks like it belongs there, for example, I find a backpack on top of a desk, or I find a water bottle in top of somebody's desk, that's not an Aveda because it's normal for the item to be there. So again, number one, how can you tell? You look. Does it look like it belongs there or not? And that's how you decide. Now, number two, how do you decide if the item must be returned or if you can keep it? Okay, so now let's say that I decide that it is an Aveda. I find something in a place that it doesn't look like it belongs there. How do I know if it should be returned or I can keep it? So we learn that there's two requirements, and this is what you should write down. 2-1, if it has a siman, which is a sign, something that can be used by the owner to claim it. And number 2, if there is a claimer. A claimer means the owner is looking for it. If it has those two things, then you must return it. But if it doesn't have a siman, it's just a plain item like scattered fruit or scattered coins that has no siman, you can keep it. Or for example, if it does have a siman, but it's something that the owner gave up hope, like enough time has passed by that the owner doesn't think he's going to get it anymore because time has passed by and there's no one claiming it, then you don't have to announce it. You're allowed to keep it. Number 3, how long must you announce an Aveda that must be returned? So this is building on the previous two questions. Let's say that you determine that it is an Aveda, it has a siman, it was recently dropped, it hasn't been here for a long time, so the owner hasn't given up hope. So you announce it. Okay, how long do you announce it? For number 3, write the following. You announce it as long as it takes for the neighbors of the area where you found the Aveda to know. Again, you announce it so that the people around the area where you found the Aveda, they know that there's something lost. So let's say, you don't have to write this down, but as an example, let's say that you find something in the middle school corridor. So you'll announce it for 2-3 days, and everybody already knows that you found, let's say, a pen or you found a charger. And if nobody claims it, then you can keep it, but you got to announce it until the people in the area, which in this case would be the middle school corridor, till they know. If you find something, for example, in the street, so you announce it in the area so that the people in the houses in the area where you found it, they know. Okay, number 4. When should one leave the Aveda where it is and not keep it or announce it? So this is the last thing that we learn. Okay, so let's review a little bit and then we'll tell you what to write. So the Mishnah told us, for example, that if you find these tied up birds, and they're behind a fence, then you leave them where they are. And what's the reason for that? And this is what you should write down. Number 4, when you find an item that looks like it was placed there, but it has no siman. So in that case, you leave it there and don't take it. And the reason for that is simple, because if you pick it up and try to announce it, the problem is that there's no siman. So when you pick it up, the owner has no way of proving that it's his. There's no siman in the item. So the best thing to do is leave it there, because since it looks like it was placed there, most probably the owner will come back and get it. So to summarize from what we've learned this year is that there are 3 different reactions or 3 different ways of how to deal with a lost item. Sometimes you can pick it up and keep it for yourself. That's when the item has no siman, or if enough time has passed by that there's no claimer. Sometimes when you find something, you have to announce it because there is a seaman on the object and it was recently dropped, so therefore the owner is still looking for it. And then there's a third situation, which is when the item looks like it was placed somewhere, but there is no seaman on the thing. So since it was placed, the owner will probably come back to pick it up, but you cannot pick it up because then the owner has no way of claiming it. And this is the end of our review of the content. The last thing that we have to know for our test is vocab. So there are three key terms that I'd like you to remember, even though we learn a couple more others, but these are very common. And again, key terms are road signs when you're driving. They tell you what to expect, and these are very useful because they really help you navigate the Mishnah or the Gemara. They guide you as to what's happening in the conversation of the Gemara. So the first thing is shenemar. Write the translation, please. It means as it says in the pasuk. And what introduces is a pasuk. Means that a pasuk is going to be quoted. Psukim are from Tanakh, from Torah Shebechtav. Another key term that we had is menayin. Menayin means from where do we know? And this introduces a question that is asking for the source of a din. So for example, the Mishnah might mention a din, and the Gemara will say menayin. Where does the Mishnah know that from? And the answer is always going to be based on a pasuk. So menayin is asking from where do we know? And what it introduces is asking for the source, what pasuk teaches us that din. And the last key term is Tanu Rabbanan, which means the rabbis have learned. And what introduces is a braita. Okay, we already defined earlier what a braita is. When you already see Tanu Rabbanan, that is going to be always a braita. Okay, then there's 12 common words that you should remember. Word number 1, siman, that's a sign. Number 2, chayav, means obligated. Number 3, patur, means exempt. 4, aveda, a lost item. Number 5, memtza, the aleph, means find. Number 6, a kli is a vessel or a utensil. Anything that can be used is a kli. A pen is a kli, a phone is a kli, a pot is a kli, a screwdriver is a kli. Number 7, ein, means not, N-O-T. Number 8, chazar, means return. Number 9, afilu, means even. Number 10 is an abbreviation because of the little slash. Vehu means etc. Etc. means and the rest of it. Instead of quoting the whole sentence, you just quote the beginning, etc. 11, ella, means rather or instead, same thing. And finally, number 12 means afal pi, even though. And this is the end of the vocab, and this is the end of the review for your final.